The midnight traveler, a stranger who takes lifts at night but never gets out. I have driven these roads for years, long stretches of asphalt cutting through fields and forests, highways that glow beneath the moon and turn into rivers of silence after midnight. I know every bend, every crooked sign, every gas station that never closes, every diner that never sleeps. I have picked up many passengers over the years, some grateful, some strange, some forgettable, but none like him. None like the traveler who appears only at midnight, always asking for a ride, always sliding into the back seat, and never stepping back out. The first time I saw him, I thought he was just another hitchhiker. The night was fogged, headlights pushing through a white ocean. And there he was at the roadside, hand raised, thumb out, a silhouette against the mist. He wore a long coat that brushed the gravel, and a hat pulled low enough to hide his face. I slowed, hesitating. Something about him was too still, too certain, as though he had been waiting for me and me alone. But habit is stronger than caution, and I pulled over. He opened the door without a word and slid inside, settling into the shadows of the back seat. I asked him where he was headed. His voice came low, flat, a single word stretched to thin. Ahead. I drove. The silence grew heavy, the kind of silence that presses on your ears. I glanced at the rearview mirror, but his face was always turned away, hidden beneath the brim of his hat. Now and then, I thought I saw his reflection flicker, as though the glass itself was rejecting him. When I tried to break the silence with questions, he never answered. He only repeated that one word when I insisted. Ahead. Always ahead. An hour passed, maybe more. The fog thickened, and the road seemed longer than I remembered. Finally, I turned to tell him this was as far as I could take him, but the seat was empty. The door was closed, no sound of it opening, no shift in weight, no trace of anyone having sat there. I told myself I was tired, imagining things, but in the mirror the seat was still indented, as though he remained invisible. After that night, it happened again. Not every drive, not every week, but often enough that I began to dread midnight. Sometimes he stood by the roadside, waiting. Sometimes he was already inside when I started the car, sitting quietly in the back, patient as stone. Always the same coat, the same hat, the same silence. No matter where I drove, no matter when I stopped, I never saw him step out. And yet I always felt his presence, until the moment I turned away, and then the seat was empty once more. I tried to avoid those hours, but midnight stretches across more than clocks. It waits. No matter how early I set out, how quickly I returned, the moment I crossed a lonely road beneath a pale sky, there he was. One night I refused to stop. I pressed harder on the gas, heart hammering, refusing his raised hand. But when I looked in the mirror, the back seat was no longer empty. He was already there, hat low, coat long, eyes unseen. His whisper filled the car, dry and cold. Ahead. I thought I could outdrive him. I took roads I had never taken before, turned down alleys that had no end, circled towns until I was dizzy. But the longer I drove, the stranger the roads became. Street signs blurred into symbols I could not read. Buildings leaned in angles that made no sense. The horizon itself seemed to fold inward. And always his presence behind me, silent except for that one word, that command, ahead. I began to notice other things. The car grew colder when he was there, my breath clouding, even in summer heat. The radio filled with static, and sometimes, beneath it, faint voices whispering my name. Gas stations that should have been open stood dark, their windows shattered, their shelves bare. Once I pulled over at a diner I had visited 100 times, but inside it was empty, food half-eaten on plates, chairs toppled, the smell of coffee still fresh. I turned to retreat, and through the window, I saw him, seated in the booth, hat low, coat spread, staring at me, though his face remained shadow. I no longer invite others into my car. I fear what they might see. But sometimes I glimpse other drivers, eyes wide, hands tight on the wheel, and I know they have him too. He is not mine alone. He belongs to the road itself, the midnight that calls him forth. Every driver who travels too far, too late, will meet him. Some pretend they haven't. Some never admit the rides they've given. But once he has sat in your car, he is never gone. The back seat remembers. I tried to speak to him once. I begged him to tell me what he wanted, why he chose me, why he lingered. His head tilted slightly, the brim of the hat lifting just enough for me to see skin that was not skin, a face that was not a face, a void where features should be. From it came the sound of countless footsteps, countless wheels rolling, countless last breaths of those who had driven before. And then his voice, layered with thousands of others, repeating the same command, ahead. Now I understand. He is not a passenger. He is the journey itself. He is every mile that takes more than it gives, every road that has claimed lives, every midnight drive that ended in silence. He waits for travelers who think they are alone, and when they stop, he joins them, and when they refuse, he appears anyway. No one has ever seen him leave, because leaving is not his purpose. He rides until the road ends, and for all of us, the road always ends. So if you find yourself driving after midnight, and the fog thickens, and the silence deepens, and you see a figure by the roadside with a hat pulled low and a coat brushing the ground, do not stop, do not slow, do not glance into the rearview mirror. But even then, when your heart pounds and your breath clouds and the radio turns to static, know this: he is already there. He has always been there, and he will never get out.